Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for returning if you are a subscriber, and if you are just tuning in, thank you so much for doing so. So today, as you can see, I'm going to be telling you the 8 things that I wish I knew before becoming a Cambly Kids tutor. You guys seem to like the last video I did about the things I wish I knew before becoming a Cambly tutor, so I figured we would have a sequel, I guess, of that. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. So let's get right into it. Anyway, so the tutor guide has been very helpful for new Cambly tutors, but I haven't seen much information about Cambly Kids tutors on the official Cambly website. If that changes, I'll be sure to put it on the screen somewhere and link it in the description below. So anyway, without further ado, I want to get right into it because I think these tips will be very helpful if you are deciding to become a Cambly Kids tutor. Okay, so let's just start from the top. The first thing I wish I knew before teaching with Cambly Kids is how to prepare or find the lessons. Okay, I think I taught my first Cambly Kids without knowing how to do this, and thankfully it went smoothly. The lessons are very simple where you can go that way, but all Cambly Kids lessons are prepared, and there is a way you can find the lessons before you actually teach. So all you have to do is go to the student's profile, and you can do it by just follow along on the video. You can go to their profile, and then you will see like courses or lessons, and the first bright circle or the first non-gray circle that you see is the lesson you're going to be teaching in your next class. And you can click on that and they'll show you all the slides. So this is important because even though the lessons are prepared, that does not mean you don't have to prepare. And this is what I mean by that. All Cambly Kids lessons are 30 minutes long. No matter if they're beginner, if they're advanced, intermediate, whatever the case, they're all 30 minutes long. So sometimes the lessons are 15 slides long. Sometimes the lessons are 32 slides long. When that happens to be the case, you have to know when to differentiate between expanding or condensing some of the information, which moves me into the next things I wish I knew. I wish I knew how to time the slides. When do I need to expand on the information? How do I need to expand on the information? The simplest thing for me on how to expand on the information is asking why questions, or asking questions about the student. Like, what do you like to do if we're talking about hobbies? And if we're talking about likes and dislikes, what don't you like to do, or what don't you like to eat? Simple things like that. Just having some backup resources on hand. The sharing screen comes in handy from time to time if you have something you want to share with them, like a game or different things like that. So if you would like for me to expand on the different things that I do to expand in my classes, and let me know, because there's a few tricks that I use that I have as a backup when I want to expand or on a lesson. And also knowing when to condense on a lesson, because sometimes like slide 2 is saying the exact same thing that slide 3 is saying, but in a different way. So if you see that they grasp the concept, then all you have to do is just skip that slide if you need to shave down some of the time. And that reminds me of the next thing I wish I knew, which is you cannot draw on the screen when you're sharing the screen. So a lot of the times when you are in a Cambly Kids lesson, it is interactive. So they want you to draw on the screen, and the kids like to draw on the screen. But when you're sharing the screen, like maybe you needed to add more resources to your classroom, they can't draw on the screen. So keep that in mind. You might want to have some different ways they can interact or participate when you do have to share a screen for another resource. Okay, so another thing I wish I knew was about some of the parents' frequently asked questions. This varies for each parent, but there are two main ones that I come across. One is that the lesson was repeated. So sometimes, I don't know how this happens, but sometimes the lesson is a lesson that the student has already learned. So when I first heard this, I was a little bit thrown off, and I told the student, or I told the teacher, there's nothing that I can do with that because that is controlled by Cambly, which lesson appears on our screen. But now if someone tells me that, all I do is just share my screen and I pull up their next lesson from their profile. So the same way you would go to their profile to prepare for class, that's the same way I go to their profile and I just pull up the next lesson and I'll share that screen and we'll go from there. So another thing I run across is asking for a custom lesson or a tailor-made lesson. I've had this happen a few times before. For instance, one of my regular students, she's like 3 years old. So her mom doesn't think that, or her mom thinks that the content is a bit too advanced. So she might ask me to read a story instead of what is on the screen. Now, I don't mind doing that personally because I love her. So I don't mind doing that personally. The mom, she even sends me the resources or the story to read for that day. So just be prepared for that. I have another student, the parent might ask me to focus on a specific concept or a specific word for her daughter. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like that, just maybe mention that you will only prepare or only teach the Cambly prepared information and material. But I don't mind it. Another thing I wish I knew is that Cambly Kids classes aren't on priority hours. I guess this is maybe a simple concept, but I wasn't aware of this. I wish they were, because I would love to teach kids on priority hours. Another thing I wish I knew is about Cambly Kids consistent bookings. Like, ever since I became a Cambly Kids tutor, all of my bookings are from Cambly Kids. Like, they have a lot of clients. Cambly Kids has a lot of clients. So whenever I open my schedule, I only get bookings from Cambly Kids. I love it being that way. You can change it to just allowing them to book you some days and not all the time, but I love it. So once you become a Cambly Kids tutor, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a pretty full schedule, close, if not close to full schedule, from just Cambly Kids reservations, and I love that. Okay, and this last tip, or this last thing I wish I knew, is just some random tips. Like, for instance, Simon Says. You'll see that a lot for like a dance break, especially for little kids, for the beginner classes. And this is Simon Says. Now, I wish I knew more commands, like Simon Says commands, because especially if they are coming back to you again, you're telling them the same commands, like clap your hands, touch your head, make a silly face, all of this. And that can get old really quick, I know, for me especially. So I wish I knew about that. Also, some games. I wish I knew of more games to play at the end of the class. So far, they like Simon Says, they like tic-tac-toe. What else? Show and tell. So at the end of the lesson, I might ask, is there anything you want to show me? And then I show them something that I also prepared. And one more thing, there's a new provision or a new thing they have with Cambly Kids, and they have games. Like, Cambly Kids have games that you can integrate into the lesson. And the big deal about this is, say, oh, well, I already had my own games that I would just share the screen. That's great, but remember, you can't draw on the screen. Okay, so on the Cambly Kids games that are integrated into the classroom, they can draw on the screen, they can interact more with the game. So they have a lot of fun games. The only thing I wish was different about it is that I could go in and prepare for the games, but I can't do that. You can only access the games during a Cambly Kids class. So I tried my best to record these during one point of my lessons, or one point I asked the student if I could just take a moment to look at the different games that were allowed. So here are the different games. The game I enjoy the most is Would You Rather, because that's also another game that the student can expound on. So like one of the questions might be, would you rather be a dolphin or an eagle? And they might simply say eagle. Then you can ask why, and so they explain why, and then you can say what you would rather be and then explain why. So I think it's a really great game to build their vocabulary and to allow them to express themselves and for you to get to know them. Okay, so I've talked quite a bit today. I hope you learned something valuable. I hope I've helped improve your experience as a Cambly Kids tutor. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try my best to think of more content, not just for Cambly Kids, but of course for Cambly. And yeah, just stick around for that. I'm also thinking of starting a new series of student daisha, because I think it's very important to remember, even though we are teachers, to remember that our learning never stops. And there's some different things that I would like to learn, and I really think as a community I could get more assistance if I uploaded it to YouTube and maybe get some feedback on it. So yeah, and also thank you guys so much for subscribing and for the support. Like I said, one of my most popular videos has gotten 5,000 views now. I'm really surprised and blown away about that. And also right now, I think the last time I checked, we are at 495 subscribers. So I really appreciate all the support. Thank you guys again for watching. If you have any ideas or have any questions, feel free to comment them below. And also don't forget, you can use my link in the description to sign up for Cambly, and just let them know that Daisha sent you. So it's been fun, you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.